gentlemen, guests, I am Greg Atienza. I'll be your MC for this evening. I'd like to start off the evening by recognizing with thanks those who are gracing the occasion. This occasion is sponsored by the Alumni Association of AIM Philippines, and we would like to acknowledge in particular the following professors who are here this evening in no particular order, and if memory serves me right, Professor Mila Lagrosa over there at the back. And I saw her earlier, Vern Caparas over there at the back. Come over here, Vern. We also saw Maya Herrera. Where's my, there. You know, there are reserved seats in the front for the faculty. So, you know, it must mean you're going to sneak out. But we also saw Mau Bolante, Professor Mau. Also, of course, Junbo Borromeo. Junbo. And we also acknowledge former AIM professors. I saw Bobby Roberto. Bobby? And my own professor from a long time ago, but he's here, Bert Ladores. We also acknowledge with great thanks our overseas participation this evening. The chairman of the AIM Alumni Association for Malaysia and the chairman of the Federation of AIM Alumni Associations, Haji Zulkifli Baharom from Kuala Lumpur. Okay. We also have with us the treasurer of the India Alumni Association, all the way from Mumbai, Nikhil Kamath. Nick. And our chair for Vietnam Alumni Association, Nguyen Tituan, Dr. Nguyen. And representing the China chapter from Kunming, Xiaying. We also acknowledge with thanks former chairs of the Alumni Association Philippines. I saw Ophel Bisnar. Ophel? Oh. I also saw Roland Yang. Roland? Yeah. And former chair, present director, Tito Serafica. Tito. And last but not the least, and I'd like to hand over the floor to him, let's give a warm round of applause to Steve DeCraig, AIM President.
Thank you, Greg. Well, Jay, quite an event you put together here. You may know that Jay has already had major impact as chairman. He's been meeting alumni 3 nights a week for the last month, and he started it out as a small cocktail party, but as the alums have gotten younger, they're staying later, and now it's a major party every night. So he and Bernie Zhao have day jobs and evening jobs. So they're both very busy. I was able to go to 2 events, so they were very nice. This event is very special for us, bringing back 2 eminent professors, both emeriti and former deans. And so that's a small subset of the faculty. Professors Ed Morito and June Bernardo, I don't know if they've been on a podium together for some years, but it's very nice that they're here today. And I'm told that if you could have passed their classes, you can pass life. Now, how many of you passed their classes? One or, all right, there. Well, now you're ready to pass life, because if you can face those 2 in the classroom, you've done your job. I also understand that Professor June Bernardo rarely speaks in public. And I think his being here today is a testament to his relationship with his son. And so the arm twisting worked, and we're delighted that Jay did that arm twisting. I was going to make some mention of FAME. As you've heard from Greg, they're here in a good number. And we had some very positive meetings today. I will tell you that the engagement of the alumni will increase dramatically with Jay and Haji Zul at the helms, and we're looking very much forward to that. You may also note that as you came into the building today, if you came into the main office area, we have a remodeled alumni office, and it now includes a lounge for alumni. And so we're welcoming you back. Anytime you're here, please utilize that space. It's comfortable. It's very similar to a business class lounge at an airport, right? So when you're on standby, you can come and visit us. All right, thank you. And I would like to recognize the class of '96 because they're the host batch. I'd like them all to stand. Any '96 in the audience? I hope I have at least one. '96 alums? They're busy meeting, planning the homecoming, I see, but I did want to recognize that. We saw several last night at the last event. So with that, let me turn it over to, I'm not sure if Jay is next, but it's a warm welcome to all of you. I expect with Jay at the helm, we'll be having more and more of these engagement events, and I look very much forward to this one. So, maraming salamat po.
I'm here to do the welcome remarks, but I'd also like to do some announcements before that. Some people were asking me, is this going to be a one-time event? It's not. We are going to try to do this quarterly. So we will try to twist the arms of Ned Roberto, Dr. Silos, Joe Faustino, Mayo Lopez, and many more, and bring back the faculty. One thing that we've been trying to crack was what can bring the alumni back together again. And it seems like it's their professors, based on the attendance. So I'm very, very happy that a lot of you are here. We are expecting about many more, but there's rain outside and it's a Friday night. So they'll be trickling in as the night goes by, So why these two particular people to start this off? We did this because a month ago, I wasn't sure whether they were gonna do it. I wasn't sure that they were going to do it. When we were conceptualizing Sincerely Yours, we said we wanted to give tribute to them. It didn't matter what they say, because some people were asking, what's the topic? Right? The topic is what they would want to say. We would not be able to stop them anyway when they get to the mic. So I don't know exactly what they are going to say, But a month ago when we did this, I was glad to receive a text message from. I got the confirmation from Ed first, because my father was abroad, so I haven't told him about this event. I got a text message from Ed asking me, and I was pretty touched by the message because his message was, "How was my induction? If it went well," and he said, "Just holler if you need support in the alumni." So I hollered immediately and told him that, yes, I do have something in mind, and I wonder whether you would want to do it or not. And he gave me a yes immediately. So at least I got one down. Then my father arrived, and I knew he doesn't like public speaking. You can make him teach in the classroom the whole day, but to the public, he doesn't like it. But he has no choice. This is something blood-related now. So he had to say yes as well. Now, these two people have a lot of similarities and differences between them. And one thing for sure, one of the differences when you take a look at both of them, one of the difference is the way they write. No? Aside, of course, Edmo likes to write a lot of books. But when I say the way they write, and my dad has not written a book, I've been forcing him, maybe, do you want to have Professor Bernardo also write a book? I've been forcing him to write a book, so maybe someday Ed could help him write a book. But when I say they have a difference in writing, I meant for those who were students of Professor Bernardo, you would remember a very neatly written blackboard with colored chalks in it. I'm so sad that the MBM program they don't teach in the MBM program anymore because they would not have those colors anymore in their blackboards. But purchasing department is very happy that they don't need to do those requests of colored chalks anymore. Edmo, however, you need somebody from Mercury Drug to be able to decipher his writing. He writes like a doctor. That's why when he publishes a book, I tell everybody, take advantage of buying his book and reading his book because the book has already been translated into written format. And you would see how great his mind works in that context. But I actually saw him write his books. He was showing me a particular time when he was writing his books. And he would really write his books, and he told me his strategy. He would write his books in a yellow piece of paper and write it not on one going, but as the inspiration comes. And I guess that's their difference. But we didn't bring them together because we wanted to bring together some group of people that will bring the alumni together. I think from the past, there are some people here are students of theirs from the past. Some people here are students of them in the present and in the future from different courses. No? And they were the ones that would bind a lot of the alumni together. And we wanted to do that, that feeling, that whole message. The reason why we're doing this, we want to bind AIM together. Our direction in the AIM alumni is to become one alumni, regardless of course, regardless of length, but to be one alumni. When you say you come from AIM, you be proud that you are an AIM. And these two people gives us that pride. Other things that similar to them, of course, Steve mentioned, they were both deans. And just like the Game of Thrones, they are the guardians of the wall. The guardians of the wall of quality. They will not, if you ask them how many people became distinction or 4.0 for that matter, or high pass in their lives, they would be able to remember them because there are very few of them. But if you ask them how many people they failed, they won't remember them anymore. Other similarities that they have, by the way, that some of you might want to start to learn because this has been lost in time. Poker has been the game of the new generation. But I think a lot of the poker players, it never led us anywhere but lose our money. But the two of them play bridge. Right? When Ed came in, he said, "Where's your father? We need to schedule a bridge game." So there must be something in bridge that we have to discover. Because the two of them, this is their similarity. Another thing is that, they are followers of Shakespeare and Machiavelli. Of course, whenever you are placed in a panel where both of them are there, you will shake and fear. That's where Shakespeare comes from. And Machiavelli said, it is better to be feared than to be loved if you cannot be both. I think both of them lived with this logo, with this saying. It is better to be feared than to be loved. Up to now, I fear both of them. But I'm sure that everybody that's here that want to listen to their message, love you both. Again, these people symbolize people of integrity, people of innovation, people of brilliance, people who are service leaders, and most of all, they are people who have been unselfish of their time to share the messages that are still instilled in our hearts and our brains. Enjoy the talks. Thank you very much.
Good evening to everyone. I haven't prepared any speech or any message, but what will I say is it's all coming from the heart. Um, that was year 2005 when Professor Bernardo interviewed me for admission in the Master in Entrepreneurship course. Um, it was a panel interview. The first thing he said is, in Tagalog is, what was your business? So I said, I'm in construction. So, kaya mo ba? Sabi niya, trabahong lalaki. Ah, yes, sir. Sabi ko, though in fear, I said yes. Uh, what if I will give you a quota? Um, 100% of your revenue or else you will not graduate. In fear, I said, yes, sir, I can do. But at the back of my mind, how will I do it? In 18 months, it's kind of impossible to do that. I think he saw the fear in my eyes and said, don't worry, I will guide you. I will make your target to 200% your revenue. And then out of fear, I said, yes, sir. I put my trust in, in him wholeheartedly because I know I will not fail. He will be my guru. It came to a point that during consultations, um, the fear is still there in around 2 to 3 months before class because I know he was really expecting so much from me. Thankfully, after 18 months, I met his target of 200%. And um, more on that revenue is I discovered myself. I discovered what I am capable of doing, more than what I know and more than what I can do. Uh, After 10 years, which is, sir, 10 years na po yun, no, nung nag-graduate, um, I am still on track with our business plan. Sometimes I get to see sir, and he just say, "Oh, how was your business? It's still doing good." But it's all thanks to you, sir. Out of fear, I was able to survive. But after graduation, I saw the personal side of Professor Bernardo. I had the opportunity to do some works for his retirement house somewhere down south. There I saw how gentle he is, how loving to his wife, is Tita Luz here, and his pets. Um, Sir, thank you very much. The lessons uh, and the fear of failure, your expectation from me, it's very, very helpful until now. It's like nuggets of wisdom coming to me every day. They are reminders that I was really lucky to have Professor Bernardo as my guru. Thank you very much, sir. And the fear made me so well to be a good businesswoman more than what I can do. You made me do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the pictures. I don't know where they came from. I'm sure they came from the archives. Well, I did ask Jay, what am I going to be doing on this day? And he said, you're going to make a speech, and it's called Sincerely Yours. So are you pushing me farther down or what? And he says, no, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. He said that I could not refuse him. That's true. 3 years ago, he gave me a new car to use. 24/7. I don't own the car. That's the beautiful part of it. This year, he gave my wife a new car to use 24/7. How can you refuse that? Well, to Daddy, thank you for the introduction. The house is still okay. You may have to visit us because it's raining and the wall is leaking. It's the wall between me and then my neighbor, and I'm trying to preserve the friendship. I don't know what to do with it, technologically speaking, but I don't want that wall to leak because we have to clean every time it rains, only when it rains. So, anyway, I tried to prepare a short speech so that I do not forget what I'm going to say. At my age, this becomes difficult. Short-term memory is bad. The face remains familiar, but the name escapes me. So, let me start by saying that the most memorable years of my career has been as a member of the faculty of AIM. Teaching energetic, bright and young, motivated students from different Asian countries in a class size of 60 to 70. I'm referring to the Master in Business Management. This is a big challenge. I've never done that. I came from LaSalle, I taught in LaSalle engineering, and we start to complain because our student size is 40. And here at AIM, we are hitting 70. And for you who will remember, you will notice that the case room was designed for 78 chairs. There was a year we exceeded 78. We had admitted 81. So we had to place 5 more chairs in front. Those are detachable. You can still see the holes in the case room 1 to 4. But this is just to show you that when you get good talent, you cannot limit it to class size. So we had to take them. Now, my first teaching assignment was quantitative analysis. And I can see many people reminding me about quantitative analysis. It's called QA. And every midterm when we show the grades, a third of that is colored red. But that's only for the midterm. They eventually managed to pass. I did not like to teach this course. I was sent abroad to teach operations management. But they could not get any teacher for QA. And I was a willing victim, and so I had to accept. Who taught OM? They hired 2 part-time faculty members to teach operations management while I was stuck with quantitative analysis. Now, let me just to recall, there are 2 main topics of quantitative analysis. One is linear programming, and B, the decision under uncertainty, which uses probabilities. Linear programming made use of algebraic equation to represent objective function, market, and resource constraint. The optimal solution is not one point, but a range of options. Non-technical students find QA boring. But unfortunately, they still have to pass it because it's a core subject. Decision under uncertainty usually gives stress to managers, stress and worries because of the uncertainty. They forget that they sometimes overlook that business decision addresses economic implication and the respective event that will happen. When the impact is high, but the probability of happening is low, why worry? When, on the other hand, when the event is almost sure to happen, but if the impact is negligible, why worry? So you will notice that in management, it's really managing your worry. Because you have to survive. And you took this course in management, whether you realize it, your biggest problem and challenge is how to manage your worry. And now let me proceed and teach you how that can be done. When the impact is very great and the probabilities will happen is close to certainty, instead of being scared and be worried, looking for the best solution, we should take immediate action to address the situation. Indecision and inaction are real causes of worry. My practical suggestion to you is have a small pad of paper and a pen beside your bed. When you wake up in the morning, in the evening, worried about something you don't understand, reflect on it and write the solution that I am going to do this at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I promise you, you will fall back asleep. Fresh enough to tackle the action the following 8 o'clock. But when you cannot decide because you wanted to have the best solution and the solution is not quite there, that's when you start worrying. So inaction, indecision is the only wrong thing about management. Well, to give you an example, the probability of winning the grand prize in the Super Lotto 655 is about 1/29 million. 1/29 million. If your calculator is only 8-digit, it will register 0. But, so the possibility of winning the first prize on the 655 goes over 100 million pesos for a bet of 20 pesos. Can you imagine that? Possibly winning more than 100 million. And I was told that it was tax-free with a bet of only 20 pesos. So the question is, will you buy the ticket whose probability of winning is close to 0? Well, some people even buy 2 tickets to double their chances of winning. And that's good, because that means that the probability of winning is now 1/14,500,000. Well, let me end by saying, you will never win unless you buy a ticket. So make your assessment. If your 20 pesos is, well, why not, if it's just there anyway? After our 4-year teaching obligation with AIM, I was supposed to teach 2 years for every 2-year of service education I got. A number of AIM professors were pirated by large companies, given compensation packages that was hard to refuse. AIM's counteroffer, and I am not mentioning this to Steve, was to allow the full-time faculty members 30% of the 44 hours per week to be engaged in personal consultancy, and hopefully they will be able to double their take-home pay. We could not get any adjustment in pay for the last 3 years. So that was the time that was given to us. The faculty however, should not compete with AIM activities, which means we cannot compete with AIM programs. In case of personal conflict or potential conflict, the institute management should be informed and given the first refusal. This is to make things straight and there will be no quarrel. The 30 hours per week of official AIM activity, like checking papers, reading thesis, and all of this, can be done at home and at night. I hope you can understand the implication, which means we have the opportunity to work daytime 2 to 3 days a week for consultancy. And that's big money. Most consulting clients are AIM alumni. So it pays to be an impressive teacher. The faculty members that were not hired eventually suffered financially and had to resign. So you can see even the performance evaluation process was fantastic. Do well in class and they will hire you later. The first oil crisis hit the Philippines in 1974-75, had an adverse effect on the donation and grants normally received by AIM from corporate donors and foundations. It was projected by the late Dean Gabby Mendoza that in 3 years' time, AIM will have insufficient operating funds or go bankrupt. The more senior faculty members offered to run more non-degree programs, and the first 4-week basic management program, popularly known as BMP, was offered to train the first-line managers, supervisors, and foremen. Not every faculty was happy about this because they were not prepared to handle the foreman. We were running 5 BMP classes of about 50 participants per year at premium pricing because there was no competition. Next month, on Monday, we will be offering our 152nd BMP, which is still bringing in, hopefully, some needed revenue. We were also doing some BMP variants, special business function. Were also conducted in Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Thailand. Consequently, significant revenues were generated to raise faculty compensation and support research and development activities of the Institute. After some years of running BMPs, our board chairman, Mr. Was Sisip, conveyed to the faculty the Board of Trustees' appreciation for the faculty initiative and sacrifices, and also informally, I will underscore that, informally allow the faculty to elect their next dean, which will still be confirmed by the Board of Trustees. The perception or concept of a faculty-run institute took effect at AIM, where full-time faculty members must not only excel academically in teaching and research, but should also share the responsibility in the financial viability, sustainability of the Institute. A very unique undertaking, and we are proud to say does not exist in many schools. The faculty continued to work hard and motivated, and new programs were offered. Masters in Development Management, Masters in Management, Master in Entrepreneurship programs. It was gratifying to see what additional program revenue can do. Well, my first significant institute assignment was eventually given to me, and I was allowed to teach production operations management. That was because we were able to hire a faculty member who will teach the QA. She was from India. And so I get to teach my lab in operation in the MBM, which was later extended to special operations management modules in the MDP and all the other degrees, development management, master management, and entrepreneurship. As guru in the Master of Entrepreneurship program, I told my assigned student, the mentees, that I will give them a passing grade in the ME program if they are able to double the revenue of their respective business in 12 to 18 months. The negotiation is only either 12 months or 18 months, but double the revenue is a must. If they do this, they will pass. As far as I'm concerned, no questions asked. If they don't meet it, otherwise they will have to explain convincingly why they cannot double the revenue for their current business. And this is not going to be an easy task to explain. The few students, and there is always some few students, who exceeded my revenue expectation within the 18-month period were all nominated for Superior Performance Award. During the teaching career and upon reflection, I continued the search for the effective ways students can learn different management concepts and theories. This led me to develop analytical frameworks, which can be displayed in the blackboard during class discussion. Colored chalks was used to highlight relevant issues without having to tell them which is relevant or which is not. All comments are put in the board in their proper places. So applying the colored chalk, you will know what happened to your comment. This could be an application of systems thinking process. Oh, selected jokes are effective to lighten up what could be too technical subject matter. Here, my son and I argue whose joke it is we're going to use. But as long as it works, then we shall apply it. Easy to remember and profound cliché are also useful learning aids. Some examples of this cliché are this. Let me read. Managers are not expected to do anything, but they are expected to get the things done right by other people. Managers are not expected to know anything, but they are expected to know from their networks of friends the people who knows. It is not what you know that counts, but who you know that knows and you can engage to work with it. Focus on getting more revenues, because without revenue, you will never have profit. Delight your paying customers and do not allow them to leave you after a sales transaction, still with money in their pocket. Okay, you know what will happen to the money is that money is going to be spent somewhere else to your competitor on a product that you do not produce. But do not overkill and just bleed them for 5 years. 5 years is important. This is to make sure that you do not overkill. We need the client and customer to stay with us, give their blood for 5 years. Kill or be better than your competitor. But if you cannot win, then niche to avoid them and be where they are not. May I add at this point that only last week they have approved the Competition Act, which is similar to the antitrust. So be careful when you hear the word kill the competition, because you might go to jail for this. I used to say, any country in the world except the US, you can kill competition. Now it's the US and the Philippines. And as a service slogan, I do not care how much you know until I know how much you care. I do not expect you to do the work right, but I expect you to help me get the work done right by other people. Going back to my preferred teaching assignment, and this portion I was not sure I should include, but I might as well, because I've typed it anyway. I submit to you that operations management deals with value creation. For people in sales, they're only good for making promises. They do not deliver. Only operations people delivers promises. Value is what the customers are willing to pay and can afford to pay for the product or services received with satisfaction. To go into this concept, in manufacturing, lower value raw material is transferred to higher value finished goods of the customer specified quality and order lead time. In the supply chain management, time and place value is created as a consequence of the law of supply and demand. During harvest season, product prices are lower due to abundance of supply. So if this product can be preserved by proper storage, warehouses, to a later time when they are scarce, then value have increased. Place value is created when products are transported from the production areas to the consumption places. Effective management of supply chain is achieved where no stock out occurs and trade inventories is minimum. In the service operation, value addition opportunities are obtained in customization and facilitation, particularly to the middle income professionals in corporate account. The more influential and rich people puts value to exclusivity and higher level of product service quality. And then they pay higher price. So if you are serving the rich, please do not give a discount. That is very insulting. They like to pay higher than what others cannot afford. Give them the satisfaction. Customers with less disposable income prefers lower price for acceptable level of product quality. To the engineers who has been brainwashed the concept of efficiency or minimum cost, your only market is the low-end masses because they have low disposable income and they will only buy if they have lower prices. But other than that, if you go up level in the market segment, never give a discount, forget about cost. Go for revenue.